A few weeks ago, I released a video that contained a section showing how to perform multiple column lookups inside Excel. Now, some people were not happy with the method that I chose. They suggested that I should have used SUMPRODUCT. Other people suggested using filter. Now, both these functions use boolean logic. The thing is, I was expecting someone to say, why didn't I use the boolean version of XLOOKUP? Well, in this video, we're going to look at all these methods and find out which is the best for performing multiple column lookups. Now, if you've never even heard the word boolean before, don't worry, we're going to cover that too. So if you're ready, let's get started. In the previous video, this is the scenario that we were working through. We had a column of areas and a column of zones, and we wanted to look up area A1 and zone 1 and then return the corresponding value. In cell I4, I could type equals XLOOKUP opening bracket, and we want to look up the value from G4 and H4. That will be our lookup value. For our lookup array, we want to use B4 to B19 and C4 to C19. Then for our return array, we want to use E4 to E19. When we calculate that, it returns a result, but it is the wrong result. It combines both values together. So it's looking up A11, and unfortunately, there are two A11s in our dataset. Therefore, it returns the first A11, which is not the value that we want. So to make it return the correct value, I suggested adding a character or characters which do not appear in our dataset into our function. In that video, I used the hyphen character. So between G4 and H4, I will add a hyphen in double quotes, and I will perform the same calculation for our lookup array. This means that we're now looking up A1-1, and as a result, it returns the correct value. So these spacer characters represent the different columns from our dataset, and the key is to use characters that do not exist in our dataset. Because this is a standard XLOOKUP function, we can perform scalar lifting. So rather than G4, we're going to expand that to be G4 to G7, and rather than H4, we're going to expand that to be H4 to H7. Now when we calculate, it returns all of those lookup values from that single formula. If we happen to have duplicate values in our dataset, XLOOKUP will return the first value it finds. But XLOOKUP can also search last to first. If we change our formula, we can skip over the if not found and the match mode, and then for the search mode argument, we're going to enter -1, which is search last to first. And it now returns the correct value. XLOOKUP also allows us to return text values. So if we change our return array to look up D4 to D19, it will return the text value from that column. So XLOOKUP using a spacer character is really flexible. But the thing that people didn't like is that in the future, as our data changes, it's possible that we might get that spacer character as a character within our data, and therefore there is the chance that it could return the incorrect result. Now, I think that if we understand our data, we should be able to select a character that the chances of that appearing are so insignificant that it would just never happen. But those people are technically correct. It could happen. So let's go and look at some of the other methods that people suggested. And the first of those is SUMPRODUCT. In this context, SUMPRODUCT uses boolean logic to calculate the values. All that means is that it uses true and false values within the calculation. So let's go and take a look. We're going to start with the first condition. This is where we match the area. In cell I4, I'm going to type equals opening bracket, then select cells B4 to B19, and we want to check where those values are equal to the value in G4, and we'll then close the bracket. Technically, we don't need a bracket in this calculation, but when we start to handle multiple conditions, we will. So we're going to include brackets here from the start. This returns a true or false value. So if the value is equal to A1, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. That is our first condition. Now let's go and add our second condition. Because we want to use AND logic, we're going to multiply our first true or false value by our second condition. So we will then open bracket, I'm going to select C4 to C19 and we want to check where that is equal to H4. We can then close that bracket and calculate. Because we're multiplying true and false together, we get a 1 or a 0. So let's go and edit our formula. And at the end, we're going to multiply that 1 or 0 by our value column. That now returns the value of 71 because that was the only matching item. All we have to do now is wrap SUMPRODUCT around this calculation and it returns the correct result. So initially it may seem that SUMPRODUCT is a good alternative. However, when used in this way, it has some big issues. Since SUMPRODUCT is an aggregation function, if there are multiple matches, it sums the result of both of those matches rather than returning a single lookup. Also, because SUMPRODUCT is trying to add the values together, if our return value is a text value, it will return the hash value error because we cannot add text together. So SUMPRODUCT, while it can handle a basic calculation, is really not designed for lookup type calculations. Before we move away from SUMPRODUCT, I just want to say that I think SUMPRODUCT is now a legacy function that serves no purpose because inside a dynamic array enabled version of Excel, we can replace SUMPRODUCT with sum and it will calculate exactly the same result. And that's because sum now handles arrays as SUMPRODUCT did in the past. So if you do want to use this method, why not just use sum instead of SUMPRODUCT? Okay, now let's go and look at our next option, which was filter. We're going to start with the same Boolean logic calculation. In cell I4, I'll type equals, open bracket, where B4 to B19, where that is equal to G4, close bracket, and we want to multiply that where, opening bracket, C4 to C19, where that is equal to H4. And then we can close that bracket. When we calculate, that now returns 1 where both the area and zone match. Now we can use this value inside the filter function for the include argument. At the start of our formula, I will add filter, opening bracket. The array that we want to return is E4 to E19. We already have the calculation that we want to use for our include argument. Therefore, we can come to the end, close that bracket and calculate. And it now returns the correct value. But what happens if we have multiple matching values? In that scenario, it returns both values. So here we can see it returns 61 and also 71. If we only want to return the first value or the last value, we can use the take function. At the start of the formula, I'll add take, opening bracket. The array is going to be the result of our filter function, and then we get to declare how many rows we want to take. In this scenario, we just want to take the first row. Therefore, we will enter 1, we can then close that bracket and calculate. It now returns the first value it finds. If we want to return the last value, we can change the 1 to -1, and that will now select the last value from the filter function. What if we want our filter function to spill so that it can return multiple calculations at the same time? Well, if we expand the range of G4 to G4 to G7 and H4 to H4 to H7, unfortunately, when we calculate that, it returns an error. And that's because our include argument is not a scalar argument. Therefore, we can't perform this type of lifting calculation. Instead, we can turn to a map and lambda combination. I'll just press Ctrl Z to return our formula back to its previous state. Now let's edit our formula. At the start, I will add map. The first array we want to use is G4 to G7. And the second array we want to use is H4 to H7. We want to pass each row from those arrays into our filter function. To do that, we need to add the lambda function. Each cell in G4 to G7 we're going to call area, and then each cell in H4 to H7 we're going to call zone. Now, anytime we reference the value in G4, we want to replace that with area. And anytime we reference the value in H4, we want to replace that with the word zone. We can then close those brackets at the end and calculate, and that now returns the last matching value from each of those area and zone combinations. Now, filter doesn't perform mathematical aggregation on the values, it simply returns the values. Therefore, if we use text values in our array argument, filter can return text values. So filter is a really good option for performing multiple column lookups because it can have similar functionality to XLOOKUP. But just be aware that the workbook could become slower to calculate because it needs to perform more calculations to achieve the same result. So that's the filter function. Now let's go and take a look at our final option, which is a Boolean version of XLOOKUP. We're going to create the logic in the same way. In cell I4, I'll type equals, opening bracket, and we want B4 to B19, where that is equal to G4. We can then close that bracket and multiply by opening bracket, where C4 to C19, where that equals H4. We can then close that bracket and calculate. As before, we get the value of 1, where the area and zone match. That means we can use this 1 for our lookup value inside the XLOOKUP function. So let's edit our formula. At the start, I will add XLOOKUP, opening bracket. The lookup value will be 1. Then the lookup array will be our existing Boolean calculation. Then for our return array, we want to return the values from E4 to E19. We can then close that bracket and calculate, and it returns the value of 71, which is the correct value. Now let's see what happens if we have multiple matching lookup values. As with our previous XLOOKUP example, we can see it returns the first value. So if we want to return the last value, again, we can use the search mode argument inside our function and use -1 so that it returns the last matching value. Next, let's see if this version of XLOOKUP spills. So we're going to change G4 to G4 to G7 and H4 to H4 to H7. When we calculate, unfortunately, it doesn't spill, and even worse, it returns the incorrect result. But just as we saw with our filter function, we can once again use the map and lambda combination. I'll just press Ctrl Z to return our formula back to its previous state. At the start of our formula, I'll add map, opening bracket. We want to use the range from G4 to G7 as our first array, then H4 to H7 as our second array. We want to pass these into a lambda function where that first range of G4 to G7 is called area, and that second range of H4 to H7 is called zone. Then any reference to G4 we want to change to area, and any reference to H4 we want to change to zone. We can then close those brackets at the end and calculate, and it now spills a result for each of those area and zone lookups. For our final test, we want to check whether this function will return text instead of numbers. So let's update our return array, and when that calculates, it does indeed return text. So the Boolean version of XLOOKUP performs at a similar level to the spacer version of XLOOKUP, but it requires a lambda function if we want to perform multiple lookups and spill those results from a single formula. To provide a fair comparison, there are a few other elements that we should consider. First of all, wildcards. XLOOKUP with spacer characters are able to use the wildcard feature inside XLOOKUP. However, filter and the Boolean version of XLOOKUP do not support wildcard characters, but we can perform partial text searches. So we have similar but slightly different functionality between those methods. Next, we want to look at range references. XLOOKUP has the ability to not just return the value, but also the cell address of where that value is found. Therefore, it can return a range reference. However, filter cannot return range references. And finally, let's consider OR logic. Using the spacer character version of XLOOKUP, we can't use OR logic, but if we use filter or the Boolean version of XLOOKUP, we can use OR logic if we set up our function in the right way. In this video, we've looked at various functions for performing multiple column lookups. We've seen that XLOOKUP with the spacer character is the easiest to apply, but we do need to understand our data, or maybe even introduce some error checks to make sure that we have characters that don't appear within our data set. We also saw that filter and the boolean version of XLOOKUP were suitable alternatives, but they are harder to apply and take more skill. And finally, we saw that SUMPRODUCT really wasn't suited to this type of calculation. If you like this video, then why not subscribe and get notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. And then, once you've done that, why not watch this video next? I think it's another one that you'll really enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.